I'm Andrew Budd. I'm the Global Chair of the MEF. This is my 12th year on the board of this rather magical organisation. This MWC has been very exciting for MEF. It started off with the elections at the AGM for the European and Asian boards. Both of them were tremendously successful. The Asian elections produced a board which was very strong in India. Clearly India is going to be a major focus for MEF in the coming years, and we have a board to really support that now. And the European elections were awesome. I've never seen a spread of candidates that was so strong. And it's interesting, about 3 years ago, the European board of MEF had maybe 3 mobile operators and rather few enterprise players. Now we have 3 banks on the board, and the European chapter is now very strongly set to help a whole new range of companies who are incoming into the mobile value chain, in many cases for the first time. I think the strategy for MEF in the next year is really built on 3 major planks, which I articulated at the AGM. The first is helping companies to move into new geographic areas. MEF is unparalleled in its geographic strength, and we saw that here, both in the spread of candidates and in the spread of attendees. So we're in an exceptionally good position to help companies who are seeking to grow their revenues by moving into new territories, because we have feet on the ground in many parts of the world, and at the same time there are tremendous innovative companies in places like South Africa, in the Middle East, in Brazil, who are looking to expand out into the rest of the world, and we can be that bridge. Was that historically mobile had been the 4th screen. In some cases it was a gadget, and it was an interesting, rather exciting but secondary channel of distribution or communication for enterprises. That ain't the case anymore. Now there's a lot of nodding of heads when we talk about mobile becoming the 1st screen, not just in the emerging economies, but now increasingly in the big Western economies. And that means that a lot of companies, a lot of enterprises, a lot of brands are encountering the challenges of the mobile channel seriously for the first time. And it's MEF's role to help them to navigate through that complexity, through our membership, through our contacts, through our networks, through the expertise that a dozen years of experience in MEF have given, to help those, what I call the incomers, to make the most of that as quickly as possible. And the third challenge I talked about was that of a dynamic business environment. This is a world in which the rules are changing with incredible rapidity. So all our members and companies who will become our members are having to experiment and learn about new business models, new ways of monetizing their services, new ways of monetizing within the mobile channel. And it'll be a focus for MEF to help that and to overcome any barriers that we might encounter. So this morning's MEF breakfast briefing on consumer trust was actually very exciting, notwithstanding the number of hangovers in the room. We had a tremendous panel. We had from Mozilla, we had security experts from Kaspersky Labs, we had an ad network in Inmobi, and we had lawyers in Denton, all chaired by Tim Green. And it really explored the issue of creating trust in an environment in which, on one side, security it will become an increasing challenge, and on the other side, where privacy is not just a matter of compliance. It's not just a matter of box ticking and staying within the law, although of course that's important. But it's actually about creating a real asset in the form of informed consumers who understand what they're getting into and agree to it willingly. Simon Bates of the MEF presented some fascinating results from a recent survey which showed that fully 37% of consumers were actually not happy sharing sharing personal information over the network at all. And that's going to be a challenge, because either those people are being forced into doing something they don't want to do, or they're abstaining from business altogether, or they don't know what's going on. In any of those cases, there's a problem which the industry has to address. And I have to emphasize it was quite clear. All the attendees, all the panelists were clear. This is not just going to be about transparency. It's about finding the difficult balance between ensuring that you have informed, knowledgeable consumers and not boring them with 65-page documents. it's a challenge, and MEF has got some very, very exciting work going on, which we'll be talking about soon, that will help address that in a very significant way. I'd say what's interesting about this Mobile Congress compared to previous ones is that there is no one big idea that everybody's getting super excited about. There are a number of very important themes that people are pursuing, but there isn't the usual hype. This is becoming a much more workaday, much more serious industry that's getting on with the task of, on the one hand, monetization and dealing with over the top. There's a lot of discussion here about third ecosystems. There are at least 5 third ecosystems, and we heard from Richard Kramer at the AGM that actually there cannot be 5 third ecosystems. There was a lot of excitement and support surrounding the launch of Firefox OS. And 18 operators got behind that, and I think that's going to be very exciting for the industry. There's a lot of discussion here about identity and about the role that the operators should play in the creation of secure credentials, which can be used across a variety of infrastructures. That ties in a lot with a lot of discussions that are also going on about how to make multi-screen experiences work and how to transport credentials between multiple screens, and the operators are looking at ways in which the SIM card can play a material role. The operators continue to look for ways of building on their established position in an environment of great pressure, but generally speaking it's about building existing revenue streams. Of course, we've seen a lot of exciting hardware, we've seen a lot of bright shiny objects, but many of them look a lot the same. There's some wearable things, but I think this is a grown-up industry seeking to make the best of what it has built over the last few years. I thought the MEF Connects party this year was absolutely brilliant, to be honest. There was more space, more people, more executives from different sectors, more networking. It went on longer than ever before. We didn't get thrown out. There was more pressure for people to enter. I think pretty much everybody who was anybody was at the MEF Connects on Monday evening, and I think everyone involved in MEF can be very proud of that.